Welcome to our presentation for the Fall 2020 CCTE Conference at the lovely Konakai Resort and Spa. Virtual conference. We are excited to share our presentation with you in video format as we tease you with images of our familiar Konakai location. I'm Allison Smith. I am a professor in the Teacher Education Department at National University. I coordinate a large portion of clinical practice with an emphasis on preparing our candidates to pass the Cal TPA. My research centers on issues of diversity in the teacher workforce, video mentoring, as well as equitable education practices and policies.
And I'm Melissa Meetze-Hall. I am an administrator in Riverside and San Bernardino County Offices of Education. My focus on my work at the county level is in our educator prep programs. We have teacher induction. We have administrative services, both preliminary and clear. We have also an intern special ed program at Riverside County. But the focus of my work, the focus of my doctoral research and my ongoing research and publishing has really been in the power of reflection and the power of using video for reflection. I am a lead assessor for the Cal APA and also an adjunct at University of Redlands. I am a certified coach, Inside Out coaching, and I truly believe that reflection and coaching to support our reflection is the way that we grow.
We are glad you could join us today for this presentation. Today we're going to talk about bridging anti-racism pedagogy across teacher pre-service and in-service programs and the importance of collaborative solutions to deepen teacher practices. Although we are not physically together to engage in dialogue about the topic, our experiences, and goals for the future, we do hope you find this video presentation to be thought-provoking and get you thinking deeper about collaboration to promote anti-racist teaching. So, come and join us. So I thought it would be great to start our conversation here at Konakai, sitting outside together, having a nice conversation. This is an area where we all know and love. If you've been to any of the CCTE fall conferences, this is where we have our lunch and during the breaks, walk around. So now we're going to get into the topic for today. We are talking about anti-racist pedagogy. Huge topic. Where are we going with this? There's so much to say, so much to talk about. We're going to talk about one portion. Melissa and I come at this from a perspective of the continuum of teacher development from pre-service, where I do most of my work, and through in-service and induction and mentorship, where Melissa has her experience and does all of her work, or most of her work. She also helps with pre-service as well. So we're here to talk about anti-racism pedagogy and how to support that through the continuum to ensure that we have teachers who are able to continue that and sustain these great practices that they start learning in teacher preparation programs and sustain through their teaching career. We sometimes find that after, we work very hard in pre-service and we get them engaged in talking about bias and stereotypes and learning to look at students' assets and funds of knowledge. And then sometimes what happens is they go into the field and they kind of revert back. There isn't this continuum of support where pre-service and induction and mentorship, everybody from pre-service to in-service are working together. This rarely is happening. We're more in silos. It's kind of like passing on the baton to the next person. Okay, now it's your turn to support this new teacher. And really, what we want to do is talk about the importance of bridging between the two, across the continuum. So if they're doing great anti-racist work in induction, well, that needs to be shared and talked about in pre-service too. And it needs to be talked about in very similar ways. So we should be using the same words and the way we talk about things and what we're talking about. It should be incremental, just like teaching. We're teachers, and we know that you need to build on concepts. We know zone ZPD. We know many different theories of learning, yet we're not really utilizing it in our own practice. And that feedback loop, that's so important. And that continued reinforcing terms, and then it's second nature, and then it's embedded in our teaching practice. So that's what we're here to talk about today. We will be providing feedback on what we are doing in pre-service. So I'm a professor in one of the largest pre-service programs here in California. And then Melissa is going to talk about in-service, what's happening there. And she's working with one of the largest in-service induction programs in the state as well. So we have a large reach. We work together, we collaborate, we are doing research together, we get in these deep conversations, and now we're here to present and talk about that with everyone else, because we think that this kind of deliberate and intentional collaborative effort toward dismantling these ideas and making some systemic change in our education system requires collaboration. We cannot continue to do it on our own. And we think that collaboration between pre-service and in-service is a fabulous and effective way to do that. So we have two major inquiry questions that guide our work and our collaboration. First, how does collaboration between pre-service teacher preparation programs and in-service induction programs deepen teacher practice around anti-racist pedagogy and ideology? The other inquiry question is, how are teacher preparation and induction programs addressing anti-racist pedagogy and ideology? So Melissa, I'd love to hear why this is an important topic for you and why you think that this is important in teacher development.
One of the ways that I think about my why is thinking about the scope and the number of students that we serve. So thinking broadly first, I think about the 5 counties, and when I look at the pupil enrollment for the 5 counties in Southern California, that's nearly 1.9 million students. Thinking a little bit closer to home, for my San Bernardino and Riverside area, that's nearly 1 million students that we are serving. And then a little bit closer even further, when I think about our induction candidates. So we have, so far this school year, 2,200 candidates and over 1,200 coaches. I think it's so important, and I'll say my call to action and my why is so that we can have conversations thinking about what racism and anti-racism are, what it means to be anti-racist. We know that that's an opportunity, a conscious effort to work against those aspects, those multiple dimensions and aspects of racism. But again, if I think about the number of folks and how important it is for the candidates and the coaches to have these conversations so that they can be in service to our students.
In pre-service teacher development, anti-racist pedagogy is extremely important. I like to think back to the Apprenticeship of Observation. And this is a term that's been around for quite a while. Lordy came out with this in 1975. And it really looks at and captures how people come into the profession and where their mindset is and where their experience is. So students arrive in teacher preparation with thousands of hours as students observing teaching. They've been observing it their whole life. And they tend to not recognize the limits of their own knowledge. They know the front stage of teaching. That's all they've observed. They've not looked at the backstage of teaching. They tend to stick to their default or safe approaches to teaching that don't always serve all students. So addressing it through that lens early, we really have an opportunity to transform perceptions of teaching and of students immediately, infusing this anti-racist view and pedagogy. It's really an opportunity to spark change at an early place in teacher development.
One thing that we've done has been to create some professional learning opportunities and include some resources to increase awareness and intentional skill development to eliminate the equity gap. This is a slide that we shared in our orientation for all of our new teachers and our coaches. And in this, you can see that we're inviting them to attend some professional learning opportunities and then explore some of our equity-focused inquiries. I'm going to talk with you about that in a moment. So some of our equity-focused inquiries have been titled Anti-Racism Matters, Equity, Meaningful Connections Matter, and Engaging Historically Underserved Student Groups. And a lot of these begin with that notion of inquiry or exploring and beginning the conversation with their peers.
Wait, time out. So what do you do? Think about this. What do you do in your practice that promotes anti-racist pedagogy? What are you going to do in the future?
In induction, teachers start with a self-assessment. They talk with their coach. They understand their context. They might be looking at their development plan that they brought with them from their university. And in those conversations and in that self-assessment, the coach is guiding them to think deeply about what they're seeing and what they need or want to work on. So as they are developing that understanding, you can see on the screen some of the questions that they might come up with. How can they become anti-racist? How can their awareness influence and impact their actions? They might wonder how they can incorporate student voice. They might have a focus, or they might be at a school site that has a greater focus on social emotional learning. And so then they might be able to help students or wonder how that social awareness can help students. So that's the beginning of an inquiry, is wondering about what's going on and understanding their context. Then, just as focusing on the steps of an inquiry, we do then ask them to do some investigating. And in this case, for our anti-racism inquiry, we ask them to educate themselves. So they can read, they can join online communities. Those are two of the most popular. And in our further research, we hope to find out which activities were meaningful, more meaningful, most meaningful, whatever we find there from them, and then how their coach and other resources were able to support them in their growth. On behalf of Allison and myself, I want to thank you for spending some time and engaging in thinking and collaboration on how we can further bridge between pre-service and in-service teacher candidates, thinking about the importance, the urgent importance of developing and further developing anti-racist educators. As we come to the end of our presentation, we will be providing you with our contact information and a way to access some of the resources that we referenced here today. We are also eagerly anticipating our inquiry research. And that research is going to include our induction candidates and their coaches, learning from them about their journey as they explored anti-racism inquiries. We would like to find out about how that has changed or deepened their thinking, and furthermore, what we might be able to do to support them even into the future and beyond induction. So very excited to find out what that work is going to bring, and of course, bring that to you. So until we're together again, whether it's virtually or face-to-face, please be well and take good care of one another. All the best.